And the game of the year is... Astro Bot!
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Sorry.
Okay, fine, I'm cool, I'm fine.
Let me start by saying that I'm not angry. Not at all. I'm freaking livid. How did the community let this win? Over that, we literally had a monkey with a stick, and our monkey brains collectively decided, yeah, let's let the Wish.com version of Wall-E win Game of the Year. I feel ashamed that as a community, we didn't let Elden Ring win for the memes, but fine, it'll probably be nominated again in 2025 anyway. Now, I don't want you to get the wrong impression and think I'm an Astro Bot hater. Far from it. It's a fantastic platformer, insanely fun. But for heaven's sake, it's not even the best platformer released this year. And yes, I'm totally ready to not live on this hill. I don't think a game that's only 11 hours long should win Game of the Year. Sure, some people will argue that a game's length doesn't necessarily reflect its quality and shouldn't be a deciding factor for Game of the Year. But for me, if a game is that short, it needs to be a masterpiece, absolute cinema, a magnum opus, a work of art, to even be considered for the title, especially when there are incredible games like Metaphor and Black Myth, Wukong out there. In my eyes, this choice cheapens the value of the award. Let's be real, Game of the Year isn't just about being fun, it's about innovation, impact, and staying power. A short game, no matter how polished, often lacks the depth needed to leave a lasting impression. It needs to push boundaries, tell a groundbreaking story, or deliver a gameplay experience so unique that it changes the way we think about the medium. If all it does is tick the fun box, then it's not enough. The fact that this title won while games with richer worlds, better narratives, or more ambitious mechanics were left behind feels like a slap in the face to what gaming as an art form can achieve. You know what they say? Size doesn't matter. But you want to know the real truth? It does. And that's exactly why your wife spends so much time hanging out with your pool cleaner. But that's not the only thing that pissed me off about this year's awards. There was another category that caught my attention. Best Adaptation of the Year. And excuse me, but what the hell is going on here? How, in a year where Arcane Season 2 was released, does it not win this title? Arcane is a masterpiece, an incredible achievement in animation and storytelling. Arcane should have taken this every single time. Don't get me wrong, Fallout is a great show, deserving of this title any other year, but Arcane Season 2 is on a whole other level. I'm sorry, but this just isn't fair.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Now, I know I've probably pissed off a bunch of people, but hold on, I'm not done yet. So before you rush to the comments and hurt my feelings, let's talk about the truly interesting part of this annual ceremony, the announcements. And what did we get this year? Well, a few things worth mentioning. Let me start with Sonic's new game, Sonic Racing Crossworld. Sega, I've got a question for you. What the f***? Why, for the love of everything, are you still releasing car racing games when the whole point of your franchise is a hedgehog who runs fast? Why? Instead of giving us a bombshell like a Sonic Heroes remake, you chose to drop the third Sonic racing game of this decade. Why? But that's not all, because guess what? A trailer for a new Game of Thrones game dropped. Now, there aren't many things in my life that have disappointed me like the last seasons of that show. But for me, a Game of Thrones game is a dream come true. I've been waiting for the day when mods come to Xbox so I can play the Game of Thrones mod for Mount and Blade Bannerlord. The trailer looked insane, amazing, a game that lets you influence decisions in the world, join the main characters, and be a part of the dynamics and politics of the world. Need I say I was already shaking in my chair? Then at the end, we find out who's developing it. Netmarble, a mobile game company. So as far as I'm concerned, this game doesn't even exist. Let's move on. The next announcement is quite exciting because it's for one of the most highly anticipated games out there, The Witcher 4. The trailer is entirely cinematic and serves as a homage to The Witcher 3. Killing Monsters trailer. It follows Ciri and her realization that the real monsters are actually humans. In the trailer, Ciri is seen in a dark, intense environment, navigating through a world that seems to blur the line between good and evil. As she reflects on her journey, she comes to understand that the true monsters she's been fighting are not the terrifying beasts of legend, but the humans responsible for the chaos around her. This realization is captured in a stunning and emotional sequence, with breathtaking visuals that highlight the shift in Ciri's perspective, setting the stage for a deep and philosophical exploration of morality in the upcoming game. The homage to the Killing Monsters trailer ties together the thematic continuity of the series while offering a fresh, darker angle. Now, I don't have much more to expand on because as cute as it is, it's still a cinematic trailer that doesn't tell us much except confirming that the main character will likely be Ciri. The tone of the game will remain grim and dark, and probably just before we get the chance to execute those peasants, we'll be able to offer them a quick round of Gwen.
I'll gather my men, go there and retrieve Anna.
Ever play Gwent?
The next announcement is set to make history, because it will likely put the same game up for Game of the Year 3 times in a row. And I'm talking about none other than Elden Ring Nightreign. Why face your demons once or twice when you can do it 3 times? The beauty of this revelation comes shortly after Miyazaki stated there would be no more expansions. Now, he's not really wrong because this isn't an expansion, but a spin-off in its own right, with a greater emphasis on co-op play. After all, what better way to remind yourself you don't have friends than through co-op games? I don't know about you, but I'm really looking forward to breaking my new controller, because there's nothing quite like the feeling of needing psychological therapy more than willingly playing Souls-like games. Wait, hold up, what are you doing? You can't just roll on the wall. Oh, this is going to be a 10 out of 10.
That's what she said.
And the last announcement that really caught my attention, Borderlands 4. Guys, we did it! I didn't believe they could pull it off, but they're on their way to surpassing the disappointment of the Borderlands movie and creating something even worse. Finally, they've done it. There's not a single white character you can play as. Why? Because it's corrective representation, or rather corrective racism. The game looks almost identical to the last installment, but honestly, what interests me most is the gameplay and story. While the trailer doesn't give much away, we do get a glimpse of some new, pretty interesting enemy designs. But for now, the most important thing is that this isn't just a Borderlands 3 copy-paste. Gearbox has to focus on innovation and change. I could go on about what I expect from the new game, but there's still time before it releases. I remember enjoying the last one. It was a blast to play in co-op, but I also know it didn't fully realize its potential. So it'll be interesting to see what Gearbox is cooking up this time. And that's all for today. All in all, it was a pretty interesting ceremony, but still no news on GTA 6, so I guess we'll have to wait a bit longer. What's the game that spoke to you the most from the announcements? Do you agree with the results of the ceremony? Is Astro Bot a masterpiece on the level of the Bible too? All this and more will be revealed in the next episode of Lazy Donkey Z.